The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Erin Holscher. I'm the Business Development Manager here at ASTA. I'll be the organizer for today's presentation hosted by United Airlines, United's exciting new international destinations. One lucky advisor attending live today will win 2 system-wide coach class tickets. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us. We will be answering your questions at the end of the presentation. However, please feel free to submit throughout the presentation. To ask a question, you will use the GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom is an area that says Questions. If you click on the arrow next to where it says Questions, it will open up a new window pane. This is what you'll use to communicate with us. If you are having trouble hearing the presentation, please make sure your speakers are turned on, and if you called in, try hanging back up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues via that questions pane, and I'll try my best to answer. I will respond to you via that same pane. Please also note that all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from you, but we have so many people on the call that the background noise would be prohibitive, and we want to ensure that everyone can listen to the entire presentation. Finally, please remember that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for on-demand viewing at asta.org in just a few short days. Please join me in welcoming today's presenters with United Airlines, Sandra Kaspar, Anthony Falvo, and Shannon Hales. Sandra, take it away.
Thank you so much. Hello and a warm welcome, everybody. It is great to have you joining us to learn more about our international destinations around the globe. And what a great to have a webinar, isn't it? We just announced this morning the addition to our Europe destination, which is Pharaoh in Portugal. You're going to hear more about that. And on behalf of the entire United team, I would like to express our gratitude to ASTA for hosting this webinar and giving us the opportunity to engage with all of you today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sandra Kaspar. I'm the Director of Leisure Sales at United Airlines. For us at United, the partnership with you, travel advisors, is essential. We strive to be your airline of choice by continuously improving upon our products, services, technologies, and consistently deliver a safe and reliable travel experience for our mutual customers. We know how incredibly busy you are, and we thank you for taking the time to engage with us today. We sincerely appreciate your participation and hope you find value in the content we're sharing with you here today. And yes, we do have an awesome prize to give away. Please stay with us until the end of the session, and one lucky winner will walk away with a pair of system-wide economy class tickets anywhere in the world where United flies. So good luck. I also would like to introduce you to my colleagues, Shannon Hales, who is the Manager in Network Planning for Transatlantic. She'll kick off our presentations, followed by Anthony Falvo, Manager in Network Planning for Pacific. With that, I would like to turn things over to you, Shannon.
Great, thank you, Sandra. So as Sandra mentioned, and I'm sure some of you saw, we announced our transatlantic schedule for the 2024 summer season just this morning. So hot off the press here. But before I dive into that news, I do want to give a quick refresher on what we currently have on offer across the Atlantic this winter season. So this winter, United will offer nonstop service to 17 destinations in Europe and will operate more flights from the US to Europe than any other airline. You can see all 17 of those destinations flagged on the map to the right here, but I do have a few specific call outs. So United is the only carrier to offer year-round service from the US to Berlin and the US to Edinburgh. And we do maintain our daily flights from Newark to both of those destinations all winter long. We also have a very extensive offering to some of the most popular European cities, and that includes up to 17 flights per day to London, with 1 or more daily flights from each United hub city throughout the winter season. Up to 5 flights per day to Paris, with nonstops from New York, DC, Chicago, and San Francisco. 4 daily flights to Amsterdam from New York, DC, Chicago, and Houston. And then this winter, for the first time, we have increased from 1 to 2 daily flights to Rome, with an extended season on our nonstop flight from DC. So this flight previously operated in the summer only, but this winter we will continue to fly DC to Rome up until January 8th, and then we'll resume it again on February 15th. So almost all year round, nonstop DC Rome. That extended season to Rome is just one of many. We're actually starting half of our summer European routes at least 1 week earlier next year. So I'll highlight just a few for those of you looking for inspiration for a pre-summer holiday. On February 15th, in addition to our DC Rome early restart, we will also be bringing back our nonstop flights from DC to Barcelona and from DC to Lisbon. We have seen pretty strong year-round demand for all three of these destinations. And I was actually just checking this morning, the temperatures in Rome are in the 60s in February and March, which to me sounds like the perfect weather for that historic Rick Steves walking tour. So I can definitely understand why people have been heading out earlier in the year. Then a few other exciting highlights are our early station restarts for next summer. So these are destinations that we only fly to during the summer season. And for several of these, we are adding a month or more of flying to the front end of that season. So starting off with Nice, we will resume flying from Newark to Nice on March 30th this year. So you can beat the crowds to southern France with an April flight out to Nice on United. Next up, we have flights from Newark to Naples, Italy, starting on April 5th. I actually traveled to the Amalfi Coast in April a few years back, so I can personally recommend heading out there, hiking the Path of the Gods, and trying out an Italian cooking class, probably in that order. And then last but not least, we are starting up our nonstop flights to Malaga, Spain on May 2nd next summer. So our nonstop service from Newark to Malaga was brand new this past summer, and it flew 3 times a week from the end of May through the end of September. We were very happy to see how popular this route was with United customers. So we're almost tripling our flights to Malaga next summer. So in addition to starting a month earlier, we will also be increasing up to daily flights from Newark to Malaga in 2024. So definitely a lot of opportunity to head out to the Spanish coast next summer. And with that, I think we can get into our new summer flights. So just announced this morning, our newest transatlantic spoke. So next summer, we're launching nonstop service to Pharaoh, Portugal as United's 38th transatlantic destination. With the addition of Pharaoh, we will fly nonstop to 4 destinations in Portugal, which is more than any other US carrier. We already offer nonstop service from Newark and DC to Lisbon, and from Newark to Porto and to Ponta Delgada in the Azores. We've seen a lot of popularity on these existing flights to Portugal this past summer, so we're very excited to be adding Pharaoh to our Portugal network. So a couple of fun facts about Pharaoh and what you can do there. Pharaoh is the gateway to the Algarve region in southern Portugal. It has over 130 miles of Atlantic coastline with 85 blue flag beaches, which are beaches that are recognized for their pristine water and sand. So you can see an example of one of those beaches in the photo here, as well as some of the golden cliffs that span the coastline in this region. So these cliffs that you can see in the photos, they also contain series of caves, including the Benagil Cave, which is a top visited site in the Algarve. Then outside of the beach life, a trip to the Algarve will bring you to coastal fishing villages where you can enjoy Mediterranean cuisine and walk by the scenic buildings in town. And for the golfers out there, the Algarve region is home to 40 top-rated golf courses, which are, of course, known for their stunning coastal views. From a schedule perspective, the seasonal service will start up on May 24th and fly through September 23rd, with 4 round-trip flights per week. The eastbound flights will depart from Newark on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and the westbound flights will depart Pharaoh on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. The flight will operate on our 757 aircraft, which has 176 seats per departure, with 16 lie-flat Polaris seats and 160 economy seats. While we do expect this to be a popular choice for the New York locals, there are also convenient connections in Newark from Chicago, DC, Boston, San Francisco, LA, and many more cities in the US over to Pharaoh. Okay, so up next, we have the return of our nonstop service from Newark to Reykjavik. We are excited to be bringing this flight back next year with the seasonal service starting up on May 23rd and running through September 25th. This flight will join our existing seasonal service from Chicago and which will also operate on the 757 aircraft. So with these two routes combined, we will be bringing 32 daily lie-flat seats into Iceland next summer. We did see very strong demand on our flight from Chicago to Reykjavik this past summer, especially with the cruise lovers out there. So we are excited to be bringing more seats to Iceland next year. One of our team members here is actually an avid fan of all things Nordic. He has shared a must-do list from his many trips out to Iceland. So some highlights there include, of course, a visit to the famous Blue Lagoon geothermal spa, which is just 20 minutes from baggage claim. From there, join in on one of the many wonderful guided tours of the Reykjavik area, such as the Golden Circle Tour, which includes a stop at the majestic Gullfoss waterfall. And that is one of just 10,000 waterfalls throughout Iceland. Summer in Iceland also allows for exploration of the untamed inner highlands, exploring and driving the unpaved mountain roads, and hiking up the various volcano trails. He says that the excitement of driving around Iceland is worth a visit on its own. Single lane tunnels, thrilling hairpin turns, each revealing even more amazing views than the last, and visits to small villages where the locals are proud to share their culture and traditions. No trip to Iceland is complete without taking in the vibrant food and nightlife scene in downtown Reykjavik, where the midnight sun helps extend the possibilities for adventure to a full 24 hours during most of the summer season. And then perhaps the best option yet, find yourself a quiet, off-the-map place to enjoy the peace and stunning scenery while you reflect on the days past and years ahead. So some amazing options to choose from there. And I know I personally have Iceland on the top of my travel wish list for next year. Our next two flights are second daily services on existing routes, which provide additional seats and itineraries for United customers to reach these destinations. So first up, we are adding a second daily service from Newark to Brussels, operating from March 30th until October 26th. This flight will be operated on the 757 aircraft and will join United's existing daily services from Newark, Dulles, and Chicago. Our Brussels flights have been popular choices throughout 2023, both for people traveling to Brussels as well as customers connecting to Africa and Europe over our partner airline, Brussels Airlines. On this route, with a 9:10 departure out of Newark and a 2 p.m. departure out of Brussels, the number 2 frequency leaves more than 2 hours later than any existing US Brussels service. So that does provide a new time channel and more itinerary options for United customers to get to Brussels and beyond. Then the late arrival of this flight into Brussels, which is at 10:40 in the morning, provides quicker connections to half of our connections to sub-Saharan Africa, again over our partner Brussels Airlines. And in several of those cases, this new flight timing does reduce the connection time from about 4 to 4.5 hours down to only 1 to 1.5 hours. So a much more efficient trip out to Africa. And then last but not least, we will be launching a second daily flight from Washington Dulles to Rome for the summer season next year. So Rome has been an extremely popular destination this year, and we're adding this flight to provide extra seats from the US to Rome during the most popular summer months. So the flight will operate daily from May 23rd through October 27th, and it will fly on our 767-300 aircraft, which has 203 seats per departure, with 30 of those being lie flat Polaris seats, 24 Premium Plus seats, and 149 economy seats. This flight provides additional time of day coverage for our network to Rome. That 10:15 p.m. departure out of Newark is an hour and a half later, out of Dulles, is an hour and a half later than any other United flight to Rome, which provides a later option for connecting passengers or for people traveling out after a full workday. Then the 3:40 p.m. departure out of Rome on the return is the latest departure out of Rome to the East Coast, which allows people one final morning out in town before they head back to the US. And with that, we wrap up the Atlantic news. So I will hand it over to Anthony to cover our exciting expansion across the Pacific this winter.
Thank you, Shannon. We do have a lot to talk about across the Pacific, and I'm so excited to share all of this news. If you were at United's presentation last year, you may remember that we announced that we were launching San Francisco-Brisbane, which was a new destination for United Airlines. And this winter, we are increasing our service to the South Pacific even more. Our capacity will be up about 50% to the region year over year. And that will make us the largest airline between the United States and the South Pacific. This expansion that we're doing, and which begins in just a handful of days, is the largest expansion between these two regions that any airline has ever done. So this is a really big deal, and it's going to give customers the ability to go on a truly once-in-a-lifetime vacation and see some of the most amazing sights that you can see in the world. So we'll talk more in detail about each of the destinations, but this is just a quick breakdown of our new service. Note that we have 3 new flights this winter, one going between Los Angeles and Auckland, one going between Los Angeles and Brisbane, and then a brand new destination, which is Christchurch, New Zealand, and we'll connect that to San Francisco. So Christchurch is on New Zealand's South Island, and this really is the destination that people think of when they think of New Zealand. It's got some of the most spectacular views that exist. And it is a great place for customers who are looking for an adventure, an outdoor vacation that is a lot more than just relaxing on a beach. Now, the great thing about our service to Christchurch is that because we are the only airline flying to the South Island from the United States, we can get customers to their vacation much faster than anyone else. It's a real advantage. And for those who have traveled via Auckland to the South Island, you know that sometimes that connection can be stressful. And if we can take you nonstop, all the better. If we go to the next slide. Now, we are also launching service between Los Angeles and Auckland, and together we will offer 2 daily flights between the United States and New Zealand. First up, our San Francisco Christchurch service will operate 3 times a week, and this begins on December 8th and will fly through the end of March. This service will be on a 787-8 Dreamliner, and that's going to offer 28 Polaris seats and 21 Premium Plus seats, as well as our standard economy and economy plus classes. We're going to fly Los Angeles to Auckland 4 times a week. This will be on a 787-9 Dreamliner, which will offer 48 Polaris seats and 21 Premium Plus seats in addition to our economy cabin. And then our existing San Francisco-Auckland service will continue to operate daily. This will be on a 777-200 with 50 Polaris seats and 24 Premium Plus seats. I think, you know, one of the great things about United is that earlier this year, we finished retrofitting our entire international wide-body fleet with our new Polaris hard product. And so no matter what plane you're on, when you're traveling abroad, you don't have to worry about getting an old seat. And I think that that takes a lot of worry out of travelers who are frequent flyers, because no matter what plane you're on, you're going to get a fantastic product. All three of our New Zealand flights leave the United States in the late evening, and they will arrive into the destination in New Zealand early in the morning. And that allows you to work a full day in the United States and then have a full day on the other end as well in New Zealand. It also allows connections from all of North America to New Zealand, because our flights via our San Francisco and Los Angeles hubs will have plenty of time to make connections. On the return, most of our flights leave in the afternoon and arrive back into the United States in the early morning. And again, that allows connectivity to the rest of North America. It's a really convenient time. And I really love the overnight flights because you can go to sleep, especially if you're in a Polaris lie-flat seat. You get the whole day ahead of you and you walk off the plane feeling refreshed. The other great part about our New Zealand service is that we have a joint venture partner in the country. So Air New Zealand and United jointly plan our networks together. And so we have designed our flight times to be connected to their intra-New Zealand network. And so if you are going on a once-in-a-lifetime vacation and you want to see Auckland and Christchurch, but maybe also Queenstown and Wellington, we can get you on flights between all of these cities. And it provides just a really seamless experience. It's something that no other US airline can offer. And it makes United a really compelling choice when you're booking customers to New Zealand. If we go to the next slide. Our Australia network is growing really significantly as well. And if the chart on the right feels overwhelming, it's because it is. We have a lot of service this winter. And it provides the ability to get customers really anywhere they need to go within Australia. I mentioned earlier that our new flight this year is Los Angeles to Brisbane. This will operate 3 times a week starting on November 29th, and it will operate through the end of March. And this will be on a 787-9 Dreamliner with 48 Polaris business class seats and 21 Premium Plus seats. That is in addition to San Francisco, Brisbane. Last year, we launched that as a 3 times per week service, and this winter we'll increase that to daily. So there will be 10 weekly flights to Brisbane from the United States on United. In Sydney, we are increasing our services from San Francisco. Last winter, we flew between 7 and 10 weekly frequencies on this route, and this winter we'll fly 14 times a week, double daily, and they will be on our largest airplane, the 777-300ER, which has 24 Premium Plus seats and a whopping 60 Polaris seats. It's a very premium airplane. Our Los Angeles and Houston to Sydney services will continue unchanged on 787-9 Dreamliners. And then Melbourne, our San Francisco and Los Angeles frequencies will stay the same, but our San Francisco airplane will be much larger this year. We will also fly this on our largest aircraft, the 777-300 with the 60 Polaris seats. It's going to offer a very premium experience for our customers and really increases the service to Melbourne to a level that United has never seen before. United Airlines will be the largest airline between the United States and Australia. And even better, we also have a partner in Australia. Virgin Australia joined the United Partnership Network last year, and they offer connections within the country as well. So if you're going on a once-in-a-lifetime vacation, there's no reason why you can only see Sydney or Brisbane or Melbourne. You could head out to the outback, you could go to the Great Barrier Reef, and if you are thinking about a vacation that's maybe closer to next northern summer, maybe you visit Cairns, which is far up north and remains tropical pretty much year-round. Regardless, United's Australia network is second to none, and between New Zealand and Australia, we offer a lot of great options this winter. And maybe your customers want to go between New Zealand and Australia, and we can do that as well via Virgin Australia or Air New Zealand. But the South Pacific is not the only place that we're growing this winter. We are also adding the first nonstop flight to Manila from the continental US on a US airline. For those of you who are aviation junkies, you may know that we also fly from Manila to Guam and Manila to Palau. But this is our first trans-Pacific flight to Manila and to the Philippines overall, and we're really excited. This is going to start on October 29th, so just a handful of days from now, and it will fly daily year-round on our largest airplane, the 777-300ER. And the Philippines are such a fantastic place. I really recommend going. I spent quite a few days in Manila, and there's just so much rich history. I spent all my days in museums and in the various forts that are around the island of Luzon. And there is incredible food, amazing seafood, if that's what you like. But even better, Manila is a gateway to the rest of the country, and there are so many other islands to explore as well. So maybe you start in Manila, but then hop over to Cebu, or one of the other many islands in the country that have just absolutely beautiful beaches, some of the nicest in the world. It can be both a very adventurous vacation, as well as a very relaxing beach vacation. It really has it all. We're also adding a new service to Hong Kong. Today we fly San Francisco to Hong Kong 2 times a day. And this winter, on October 28th, so again, just 2 days from now, we'll launch daily year-round service between Los Angeles and Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a really wonderful vacation as well. I think a lot of people think of this city as just a business destination, but it also has incredible food. I think you're getting a theme that I really like to eat on my vacations. It's true, but Hong Kong has some of the best in the world. The other thing that I really like about Hong Kong is that while it is a major metropolis, you can also get into nature really easily. When I was there, I did Victoria Peak, and it is a relatively easy hike that gets you out of the city and into nature. They have stunning flowers along the path, and I'm a big fan of taking pictures of flowers. And when you get to the top, you can get a wonderful view of the entire city. And it really is impressive because you have so much nature and also so much man-made structure that it's a really interesting dichotomy. You get a similar vibe in Singapore as well, another destination that United flies to. And if you have the chance, both of those cities make a great vacation pair. For those of you who keep up with United's network, you know that we used to fly between Newark and Hong Kong. Right now, that service remains suspended because we cannot fly over Russia. And so adding Los Angeles, Hong Kong is a way for us to keep a third frequency in the market. And we're really excited about that. We're committed to Hong Kong. We're the only US airline flying to Hong Kong today. And we want to make sure that we continue to offer a really great service. So between San Francisco and Los Angeles, we can certainly get you there. And then on top of that, we are increasing our Tokyo presence this year. United Airlines is already the largest airline between the United States and Tokyo. And we're going to add an additional trans-Pacific flight between Los Angeles and Tokyo and Narita on the 28th of this year as well. That'll be daily year-round. Now, we used to fly Los Angeles to Tokyo and Narita, and then this summer we switched it to Tokyo Haneda. Haneda is a wonderful airport. It's the most convenient airport to downtown Tokyo, and it has the most domestic connections elsewhere in Japan. And we have our main joint venture partner, ANA, which also has a hub in Tokyo Haneda. So if you want to go and start your vacation in Tokyo and then hop around to maybe Osaka or Fukuoka or Okinawa, you will probably want to fly into and out of Tokyo Haneda. But Tokyo Narita is another great option. It's a little bit further from the city, and even though it is a bit further, there's a high-speed train to downtown. But one of the great things about Tokyo Narita is that our partner ANA also has a hub there. And this hub has very well-timed flights to Southeast Asia. And so a lot of our customers will fly via Narita to get to places like Thailand, Vietnam, and Singapore. And so between both Tokyo Haneda and Tokyo Narita, we have the Los Angeles market covered. Tokyo is a city that I have been dying to get to. I don't know how. I've worked at United Airlines for 5 years and have not yet gotten there, but it feels like it continues to escape me. Last year I was supposed to go and my coworker gave me COVID. So maybe this year I will finally make it there, but it's easier than ever to get there. We have 10 daily flights between all of our hubs in the United States, the continental United States, and Tokyo, Haneda, and Narita. We also fly to Osaka from San Francisco, and we have a whole Guam network that flies between various cities in Japan, because Japan and Guam are very common vacation destinations between those two locations. Now, if we go to the next slide, you will see all of the various flight times. And again, it feels overwhelming, but it's because we have so many flights. In Hong Kong, we have quite a bit of time of day coverage. So you'll notice that our new Los Angeles flight takes off in the morning out of LA, gets in the evening in Hong Kong, and that allows you to wind down at night, sleep, and start to adjust to the new time zone. And then out of Hong Kong, we leave at night. It's a red eye that gets back into Los Angeles in the evening as well. And in San Francisco, we offer 2 different time channels. You can leave SFO around midnight or around noon. And that gives customers a lot of different optionality. And the same thing in the reverse. You can leave Hong Kong for San Francisco at 11 a.m. or 10:30 p.m. Our Tokyo flights are at similar times, and again, they offer different benefits, Narita being a better connector to Southeast Asia, and Haneda being a better connector to the rest of Japan. Our new service to Taipei, which we have not yet talked about, also launches this weekend. It is our second flight to Taipei, and we are the only US airline flying to Taipei today. The new flight will be at a different time channel than our existing San Francisco flight. The new one will take off at 11:25 p.m. and our existing will take off at 1:35 p.m. So we really have you covered if you like to fly overnight or during the day. We can offer both to you. Both of our flights to Taipei will operate on a 777, which offer between 50 and 60 Polaris seats. And then last but not least, our San Francisco Manila service will depart around midnight. It'll get into Manila early in the morning, and then it will leave Manila in the morning and get into San Francisco also in the morning. And that again is on our largest airplane, the 777-300ER. We have a lot of service to offer your customers this winter and next year as well. United Airlines is by far the largest airline across the Pacific. If you stacked Delta and American on top of each other, we would still be larger than them combined. So when you think of Trans-Pacific flying, I hope you think of United because we can get your and our customers really anywhere they need to go. With that, thank you for listening, and I'm going to pass it back to Erin because we can start a question and answer period where we can answer some of your questions. Erin?
Excellent. Well, thank you so much to all of our presenters today for some great information, some exciting destinations, some local insights on things to do and food to eat. So thank you so much for sharing all that and United's partnership with ASTA. We're so thankful for that. So jumping into some questions here for you. The thing I'd like to be able to present to all of our advisors attending today is if we're not able to get to your question today, I'll be sharing some questions with our presenters and they possibly may circle back with you on a one-on-one basis. So just to be able to talk about that. So I've done my best to kind of align with as we've gone through the webinar here. So the first question that popped up is how often are the flights from Berlin and Edinburgh? Are those daily flights to Berlin and Edinburgh or what's the schedule with those?
Hey, yes, that one's for me. So great question and something that we're really excited about this winter. We are offering daily flights from Newark to both Berlin and Edinburgh all winter long. So you can get there and back really easily on United. And then in Edinburgh, we will also be bringing our Dulles Edinburgh and Chicago Edinburgh flights back in for the summer season. in 2024.
Thank you. Now, what is the best airport to fly into for a visit to the Amalfi Coast?
So the Naples airport is the really convenient access airport for the Amalfi Coast. I know when I went, I flew into Rome and I had to take a train from Rome to Naples and then a different train from Naples down to Amalfi Coast. So if you can fly right in, it saves you one of those two legs. So I believe the connecting train from Naples down to Positano was maybe 1 to 2 hours, but I think a lot of people opt for a car rental or a car hire instead. So again, just a couple of hours from the airport down to the coastline. And it is truly beautiful down there. So if you are thinking of making it out, I would definitely encourage.
Excellent. So I believe this follows a similar path. You're looking for some recommendations. How long would you recommend for a visit in the Algarve region?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm actually planning on visiting in a couple of weeks. So I've just been working on an itinerary myself. We're hitting a couple of different spots in Portugal. So I think we're going to be in the Algarve for about 3 days, which I wish we could stay longer. But just given, timing constraints, I think that's the right amount of time for us. There's so much to do. We're looking at different boat tours. We're looking at cooking classes. Definitely spending some time on the beach and hiking through some of those sea caves. So I think that 3 days is going to be like a nice taste of the region, but I feel like we could spend a full week there if we wanted. But that said, in Portugal, the train network is incredible. So people who want to add in Lisbon or even Porto, they can take a United flight from Newark out to Porto, take the train down to Lisbon, spend a few days in Lisbon, and then finally down to the Algarve region, and then fly back out of Faro. So those open jaw itineraries throughout Portugal kind of help set up a really nice 1 week trip in Portugal.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that insight. Now, I believe this was a slide or a bullet you covered, but the question that an advisor asked is Brussels the most recommended connection point airport for sub-Sahara Africa?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have a joint venture partnership with the Lufthansa Group, and you can connect over several Lufthansa hubs down to Africa, but Brussels Airlines really does have an incredible connecting hub down to Africa. So I would recommend looking at the different itinerary options for the destination that you're looking at visiting, because there will potentially be connections over Frankfurt or Munich as well. But I would say that Brussels, in many cases, does provide the most efficient connection option. And with this second Newark-Brussels flight, it just shortens the layover on a lot of those, so you can get there faster.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, this we had a lot of excitement about Christchurch and that new route. So thank you so much for sharing those details with us. The advisor is asking, can you please state again which cities are flights departing from and when do those begin?
Yeah, absolutely. Our San Francisco to Christchurch service will depart on December 8th of this year. And the return from Christchurch to San Francisco will start on December 10th. Los Angeles to Auckland will start on October 28th, I believe it is. And that will return from Auckland 2 days later on the 30th. And then San Francisco, Auckland is already operating, but that will increase to daily tomorrow. And it will continue that way throughout the winter season.
Excellent. Thanks, Anthony. So looking at, these are going to be some questions that are all related here about connecting flights and such. So we're going to start with will there be flights from the Portugal cities into Madeira? Apologize. Madeira?
Yeah, so Madeira is kind of another island off the coast of Portugal. We don't currently operate nonstop flights from the US to Madeira. We do have our nonstop flight from Newark to Ponta Delgada, and then our other Portuguese cities are Lisbon, Porto, and now Faro.
Got it. Thank you. And then do you offer connecting flights to Scandinavia, most specifically Copenhagen from Edinburgh?
We do not have connections over Edinburgh. We do operate nonstop service to Stockholm in the summer season.
Now, do you have any carrier partners that you work with in Manila for exploring other islands?
That's a great question. We don't right now, but we are constantly looking for new partners. And just in the past couple of years, to support our Australia services, we partner with Virgin Australia. To support our South Africa services, we found a new partner in that country. And I think that we will hopefully have something soon to support the Manila service.
Now, how many Polaris seats are available on the Taipei flights?
That's a great question. Our existing flight has 60 Polaris seats, and that's flown on a 777-300. That's our largest airplane. The new service will operate on a 777-200, and that has 50 Polaris seats. It is a smaller airplane, but it's actually a little bit more premium on a percentage basis. So 110 total Polaris seats every day to Taipei.
Thank you. Now, what nonstop destinations do you offer between Denver and Europe? Or, maybe we can talk about Denver and Europe, but then also maybe anywhere else in the Midwest and Europe for those nonstop destinations?
Yeah, so across the Atlantic, we fly out of Denver to Frankfurt, London, and Munich, with our London services going up to 2 daily in the summer season.
Got it. Thank you. And let's see here. Lastly, during Iceland off season, do you have a ticketing agreement with Iceland Air?
I do not believe that we do.
Okay. Thank you. So let's see here, kind of scrolling through. I think we've answered a majority of these questions here for us as well. So we will transition into our next step, which is going to be that prize drawing. So thank you for all of these fantastic questions. Thank you for our presenters for being amazing resources to help us better understand the presentation today. So transitioning to that prize drawing, one lucky advisor attending live today, again, will win 2 system-wide coach class tickets. So drum roll, please. And the winner is, let's see here. We're winning a pair of United tickets. The winner today is Alana Wallace. So congratulations, Alana. I'll be sharing your contact information with our presenters, and they'll be following up with you to get that prize for you. So as I've mentioned, this webinar was recorded. So I absolutely encourage you to listen to the presentation again with all of this wonderful content. It's going to be available on asta.org in just a few short days in the video library on our webinars page. So thank you so much to our partners at United Airlines, to our presenters, to all of our travel advisors attending today for the webinar. This will conclude today's presentation. United Airlines, anything to add to send us out?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for your time today. Thanks to everyone who joined and participated. United offers some of the best destinations in the world, and I hope that you all get to experience them. And just thank you for helping our joint customers get to where they want to go and to allow them to see the world. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you, and we hope you have a great day.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.